the Nerdy Nomicon, our very first show of 2017. Brooke is actually not going to be with us for this very first show. She will be back for our New Year's episode, however. But we need to sit down. We got to open up the book because we've got an awesome guest for you guys. We've got someone that you probably have heard a little bit about if you listen to our sit down with MJ Orrs. Remember a few weeks ago? Absolutely great interview. But we've got someone that's going to terrify you. He's going to bring the fear and he's going to make it your reality, man. We are sitting down here with Anthony Lucciano from Irrational Fears Podcast. What is up, dude?
What is cracking, Rob? I felt like I was like we're on the radio. I was like, what's cracking, Rob? And then we get the soundboard going.
No, nothing that entertaining or anything. It's just a couple of douchebags sitting down here shooting the shit about nerdy stuff.
It's like a good radio station.
Exactly, man. Exactly. And that shock jock shit there. No, maybe a little bit of that shock jock. I don't know. It depends on your perspective.
Yeah, so whatever you're feeling.
You are the host of the Irrational Fears Podcast.
That would be me.
I'm still trying to figure out where I want to dive into this. I think with the title first, Irrational Fears, man, because basically what you do on this podcast, you're into audio narration. So you just sit down, you read a whole bunch of creepypasta, you read lots of stories, no doubt stuff that we've seen on Reddit or also heard on the No Sleep podcast. So you're in the audio narration field.
Yeah, I sit in my office and talk to myself for 5 hours a day. So
yeah, but you reach an audience when you do that. Me, I sit down and talk to myself for hours on end, and I don't even hit the record button. I just sit there talking to my wall.
Hey, maybe sometimes you hit the record button, people might want to listen.
Very good. Very true. So the title, Irrational Fears, where did that come from, man? Because lots of the stuff that you talk about, lots of these stories, no, I'm sorry, dude, those fears are fucking rational.
Yeah, so it started out originally as a writing project for myself because I'm scared of a lot of shit. I'm not even going to try and sugarcoat it. Things that I couldn't explain to you why I'm scared of them. So originally, the Irrational Fears project was me writing, and as that kind of fell off because I didn't have so much time to write, it built up into the podcast, which is where we're at now, and I plan to build it up into more later, so I wanted to stick with the name.
I love it, man. So what got you into the audio narration of it all and hooking up with MJ Orrs, like getting your stuff out there for the world?
So originally I was we were laying in bed, me and my girlfriend, and she wanted me to read her a bedtime story, and I was like, it'd be kind of funny if I read you a scary story. So I jumped on to No Sleep and found, I think that we started with Romantic Cabin Getaway. And
that's a good one.
It's probably one of my favorites. And I started reading it, and she just stopped me in the middle, and she was like, you have a really good reading voice. You should read to people. And I laughed. I thought it was funny. And so I tried it out. And I posted it on Reddit, and Mike actually reached out to me and was like, hey, man, I know you. Yeah, he was like, you've got the podcast. You want to get it out there. I've got a website. Do you want to do something? I was just like, fuck yeah. I didn't even think twice about it.
Yeah, in a situation like that, you jump on that like white on rice, man.
Oh, absolutely. You don't want to. It's stuff like that if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but you got to try it out.
Absolutely.
And it's absolutely worked out.
So are you and MJ like friends from way back?
Not at all. I think I just happened to post in the right place at the right time, honestly.
Gotcha. So he just picked you out of the aether and he's like, hey, come on my website.
Yep, pretty much. I'm not complaining about it.
Absolutely not. You'd be silly to complain about that. All right. Well, that works. Now, you mentioned that you're scared of a lot of stuff. I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm not scared of a lot, but the stuff that I am scared about, they're either manifesting lately or they're off the wall weird. Do you feel comfortable telling us what your irrational fears are?
Would you say that yours are irrational?
In some cases, yeah, I am terrified of mirrors. That's one thing. I'm very scared of mirrors. Not to the level where I can't, look in the mirror and brush my teeth or look in the mirror and shave and stuff. I still do my hair. Most of the time I just slap a backwards cap on it. But regardless, I can still do that. But I can never make eye contact with myself, and I can't look in the mirror too often. I can only look for like 5 to 10 second increments, and I have to look away because I am very afraid of mirrors.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that. If it's a dark room, I won't do mirrors either. That's not...
Yeah, I have to have bright lights on in the bathroom, too. None of that dim shit. You go to greasy spoon when you're driving cross country or something like that. The lights are flickering. I cannot look in the mirror at all.
Yeah, like, I'll just piss outside. I'll be all right.
Exactly, man. You can't take the country out of the boy. I grew up in a small town. I have zero issue with that. No, I'll just go behind the dumpster. We're fine here. No, I cannot look in the mirrors and lighting like that. Has nothing to do with the eyes. It has to do with the fear of mirrors.
That's understandable. I mean, I don't have the whole point of the Irrational Fears like project in general is to just kind of bring everybody together with fear, because I think it's something that you shouldn't be embarrassed about.
Oh, I agree.
So, I mean, I'm scared. One of my biggest things is animatronics, and being in Vegas, they are fucking everywhere, and it is my worst nightmare.
So you're walking down the boulevard just shrieking, "This is my nightmare! Oh God, what?" No,
I've
get
been
that, man.
Out of a mall crying, like it's not right.
I get that. So Westworld is just flat out terror to you.
I've never seen it, and if that's what it's about, it probably would be.
Okay, how about this? Five Nights at Freddy's is probably terrifying to you then.
Yeah, not my style. I mean, I can watch people play it, but if you sit me down in front of a computer, I'm not going to last very long.
I hear you on that. You know what? There is something frightening about animatronics at its core too, you know, especially once they start getting into like Westworld territory or what Disney's been able to pull out, especially recently. You start to reach that uncanny valley, you know, Tom Hanks in the Polar Express, and it just feels wrong. It's something deep-seated and primal. It just makes me unnerved as well. I mean, probably not to the level that you are, but I get that. Yeah, there's no cause for concern on that.
It's funny that you mentioned Tom Hanks and Polar Express, because I assume that you guys have seen Rogue One, maybe with Brooke being sick.
Oh, God.
Maybe not, but
we went opening night, actually.
She
soldiered through, man. She soldiered through.
You can't not. I waited too long for it, and I regretted it. I need to go watch it again, actually. But when Tarkin came on screen and that CGI hit me, it was just the right amount to set me off a little bit. I was like, that's just not right. He doesn't need to be there. We'll be okay without it.
Especially all things considered now with the loss of Carrie Fisher. How did you feel about the end sequence? Spoilers to those who haven't seen it. But if you're listening to this episode, I'm sure you listen to our Rogue One spoiler cast. I think we're fine here, but spoilers nonetheless. How did you feel about Carrie Fisher's little cameo at the end there?
I was expecting it, obviously, you know, with the way or what this movie was about, but I think it was handled perfectly. It wasn't too much, and it was, I mean, I don't want to say tasteful, because it's not like they did it as a tribute to her.
You can see it as it now, perfect. But I mean, at the time, no, it was definitely not a tribute.
Yeah, no, it was something that, like, when it happened, I looked over at my girlfriend and I smiled, and she was bawling her eyes out, and I was like, yeah, I think they got their message across.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, man. That end sequence just has a different feel to it now. It really does, because, you know, you felt good and you felt empowered, and like you were with the rebellion when, you know, what is this? It's hope, and you're feeling good. Now with the loss of Fisher, I'm just sitting there like, we do have hope. Hope that 2016 never comes again.
Right. Well, we made it 6 days so far, and I'm not knocking on wood for it.
So far, so good. So far, so good. But as far as the CG that they did with Fisher, I mean, making her look like she was 19 again, did that hit that uncanny valley for you as well, or was it primarily just Tarkin?
I think it was done really well. I could barely tell. If I didn't know, I guess, going into it, I might not have been able to tell.
Right. Tarkin, I even thought that they did really well on that. But, I mean, it definitely wasn't Tom Hanks' Polar Express, where it was at that frightening level. Tarkin actually kind of gave me a little bit of a pause. And I had to remember back. I'm like, wait a minute. Peter Falk is dead.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. He was that old in the 1970s. He was that old in 77. What the fuck is going on here? Do they have necromancers at Disney now?
And everybody's hushing you in the theater, and you're like, shut the fuck up. I'm having an existential crisis right now.
That's right, man. That's right. And then I remembered back to Robert Downey Jr. in, which one was it? Civil War, when they had that flashback of him when he was a teenager and he's looking like real young Robert Downey. I'm like, yeah, Disney does have that tech now. Yeah, they've got it.
Yeah, it freaks me out how well they're doing it.
Tell me about it. I mean, we're at the point right now, because there are rumors that are coming out of Disney that Princess Leia is supposed to have a huge and very pivotal role in Episode 9, which obviously isn't shot yet. They just finished shooting Episode 8 a few weeks ago, and she's supposed to be huge in Episode 9, but obviously we've lost Carrie Fisher. We're now living in a world where they have the technology to put Carrie Fisher in this movie anyway. You know, that's the world we're living in. I guess the question is, going back to the Irrational Fears, is should we? I mean, I guess that's where we are.
It's kind of like, as a Star Wars fan, I say absolutely, because I want to see how that plays out. But
same.
In a sense, you're just kind of like, you should probably just leave that alone and figure it out. Like, you guys can pay the writers to redo it if they need to. I don't know.
Right. I mean, we're living in a world right now where Heath Ledger's death wouldn't force a rewrite for the Dark Knight trilogy. Now, granted, I love The Dark Knight Rises. Yeah, it's probably the weakest of the three, but I still loved the movie. I'm also a huge Chris Farley fan. We're living in a world where Chris Farley now stars in Batman 5. You know, that's where we're living right now, where Heath Ledger could have come back as the Joker due to the magic of CG. But should we? Is that taking things too far in this computer age?
It's at a point where you almost just kind of have to not fight it anymore, because they're going to do what they're going to do.
True.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what it is, but for the most part, I mean, I would love to see if they could bring Heath Ledger back. Maybe not for like a main part, but if the Joker was in a new Batman movie, I wouldn't be against it, because Jared Leto's just, let's not go there.
He wasn't even the best Joker of 2016. You know,
and
that's the problem. I mean, we had Mark Hamill in The Killing Joke. He was the best
terrible.
Joker, but he was still the best Joker in 2016. Jared Leto was live action, and he sucked. I mean, come on. In my opinion, this is strictly my opinion, he looks like his Joker was like a mix-up of Big Daddy Kane, Ronald McDonald, and oddly the Kool-Aid Man. Because how many times can you bust through a wall in one movie?
As many fucking times as you want when you're the Joker, apparently.
I guess. You know, that was the thing. By the end of the movie, when he breaks through the final wall, I think it's number 5 or 6, I'm like, you know, at some point, can you just say, oh yeah? Seriously. Can you just
a little
nod
fan
to
service.
us?
Just let me have that.
Exactly. Just, we notice. We see what you're doing here. I'm not going to fight you on it, but can you at least give me something? You know, a tiny little reach around for what you're giving us, what you're putting us through here. And he's all sorts of upset because so much of his stuff got cut. I would like to see what the finished product was supposed to be, but I mean, if that's what we're getting of the Joker, maybe it was a good thing that he was cut down, because what we got was not great.
Yeah, did you see the extended scene with Harley and Batman in the Joker? He was in there a little bit. That got released a little bit later after the movie came out.
I did not. I saw that it got released, but I never sat down to watch it.
It's not even worth the time. It'll make you realize that no matter what they cut out of that movie, it was still going to be the same fucking movie.
Really?
Yeah, I wasn't impressed, unfortunately.
That's depressing. And you know, we're big on positivity on this show, okay? So I don't want to be sitting here hating on Suicide Squad, because for what it was fun. I thought it was fine. I thought it was a fun movie. Maybe fine is too positive on it. It had its moments, but ultimately it was forgettable. Batman v Superman, I actually liked it, in spite of itself. I mean, they tried really hard to make me hate that movie. They went out of their way to force me to hate that movie, and they failed on that, because I actually did end up liking it. But there are elements of these movies, man. Jared Leto's Joker is the number one thing that comes to mind, where I'm like, you know what? Sometimes you got to rein it back. I saw that you wanted to try something different, but that was too far the other way. Because
no, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you have to go into this movie with like a mindset of, or any of these movies, as being a comic book fan, because comic books are over the top and fucking ridiculous 99% of the time. So it's hard to listen to people talk about how it's bad because it's like it's too serious, or they joked around too much or something like that, because it's like it's a fucking comic book movie.
Right.
Just gotta enjoy it. I don't know.
Exactly. But in the case of the Joker, sometimes it comes down to the characterization that's been established to us for over half a century, really. You know, The Joker, at least the versions of him that I've read, I mean, keep in mind, Batman goes back a long friggin' time. The Joker that I have read, the Joker that I know, the Joker that I understand, would not sit still for that many tattoos, man. Let alone tattoos on his face. And I'm pretty sure would not wear a grill like Paul Wall.
It's 2016, or it was 2016.
Yeah, I guess. But I don't want to hate on him too much. All right, so going back to the topic at hand, animatronics, they really get you. So Westworld's out for you. Not Westworld.
I'd give it a try. I'm sitting in front of my computer right now, and I looked it up, and maybe it wouldn't be so bad. I think it's more of the, like, they look realistic, but when their movements aren't, that's when it...
The spastic movements, yeah, I get that.
Yeah. But
how about another one? Any other fears that are a little bit outside the norm?
There's weird little specific ones, like car windows, but only at night and if I'm alone.
Yes, I get that. I totally get that. It's any window for me when I'm inside a house at night. I don't like looking outside the window. And I don't like looking at second floor windows at night in any other houses when I'm outside, because I'm always afraid of who's going to be looking back at me.
Right, and I can get that being from the country. That's probably like a legitimate fear coming for you.
But the weird thing is, it doesn't bother me on the first floor. It's the second floor. You would assume it would be reversed for me. And I'm not joking about this at all. You would assume that the first floor would freak me out more because they're closer to the ground. If there's someone evil there, they can come out and get me quicker. Right. I don't know why it's the second floor. It's just something ominous. Maybe it's that they're looking down on me. You know, that I'm nothing but a puny ant to them. I don't know what it is, but that is a legit fear of mine. I don't like looking up into dark houses at night. I don't like looking at second floor windows.
Yeah, no, there's something about I don't know, windows. I'm in Vegas, so I've been here my entire life. So being out in the city, like, house windows don't bother me so much.
Right.
But I don't know what the fuck it is about car windows. Like, I know nobody's gonna jump through their car window and attack me or something. It's just I don't know. That one sets me off.
I gotcha, man. So you started up the Irrational Fears Project, basically to try to put these fears out on Front Street and have people come together, and instead of being ashamed or embarrassed of the weird things that they might be afraid of, to kind of celebrate them and smile about them and come together as a community.
To an extent, yeah, because I have that tagline, like, what scares you? I just want people to be not afraid to come out and say, this is what scares me. Because if you think about it, fear is probably pretty damn close to the only reason the human race still exists.
Oh, agreed.
So, like, that caveman didn't go into that cave because he heard some growling in there, and he's like, no, fuck that shit. I'm probably going to die, and walked away.
Right.
Had he not done that, we might not be here. So fear's not something that you should hide from other people.
Exactly. It should be something that's put out on Front Street.
And that's my plan, at least. I'm trying.
That's awesome. You keep referring to this as the project. Do you have things outside of just the podcast that you're working on? I mean, you started out with the writing. You're in big with the podcasting now, with the audio narration. Where's the next step for you?
So going back more into writing, because it's obviously what got me started, and that's kind of a passion of mine. And I'm trying to bring other people in to not like write for me, but write with me about things that scare them, because I feel like that's the easiest shit to write about. And I'm actually working on another audio drama with a couple of close friends that I met again on Reddit that should be coming out here in the next couple of months that you can keep an eye out for as well.
Oh, that's great. So you got an audio drama coming out. We talking Black Tapes and Tanis-esque, or are we talking something more like small town horror?
I'd say more towards like Black Tapes and stuff like that. It's my buddy Jamie is actually going to be writing it, and I'm just playing one of the characters, but it's going to be about dreams and nightmares and the things that are in them attacking you outside of that. I don't know what I'm supposed to say about it or not, but
oh, that's great, man. That's absolutely great.
Yeah, if you were on the No Sleep Out of Character subreddit anytime in the last 6 months, he was on there asking people to send them his dreams or their dreams so that he could turn them into stories for the podcast. And I'm really looking forward to people hearing that one. It's a lot of fun.
God, that is so great. I'm actually working on a couple of projects right now for Artful Gremlin Productions. One of them is a horror audio drama. Nothing as out there as the Dream situation, though, man. That more of that, less of everything else that we've got going on. I love that idea. And you're going to be playing one of the characters there.
Yeah, I'm going to be one of the crazy bastards.
Oh my God. Do we have an initial release or an projected release time for this?
Yeah, we're hoping like late March, early April to have everything done and ready to go.
And do we have a title yet?
It's going to be the Sleepwell Archives.
The Sleepwell. You heard it here first, folks. The Sleepwell Archives. We got a new audio drama that we're going to be just throwing into your ear holes, man. We're going to be talking about this shit about as much as we talk about Rover Red. And by the way, if you haven't listened to Rover Red, shame on you, man, because that show is fantastic.
Yeah, I've been, like I said to you a while ago, I've been so balls deep in getting everything ready for January. I have been neglecting my podcast subscriptions, and I feel like such a terrible person being a podcaster myself.
Hey, we all go through it, man. I mean, especially with the holidays and the fact that 2016 is a motherfucker. Sometimes you fall behind on stuff.
Yeah, I've got about a 30-minute drive to work, so I've been trying to catch up on some things. I just finished the first season of Archive 81. And,
that's a great show.
Yeah, I wasn't going in there with high expectations, but now I'm itching for season 2 because I don't know how the fuck they're going to do it, and I can't wait.
Same here, man, because they just dicks out for it. You know, they just put everything right out there. I have no idea what they're going to do for season 2. I know that we're getting one, and I know that I want one. I don't know what the hell they're going to do.
And I will fucking listen to it.
Oh, goddamn right. I actually stumbled onto that, September, October, I think. I just happened to stumble into it, and it just grabbed me from moment one of that show. I hadn't heard anything really about it. You know, I'd heard the name come out, but nobody really talked about what it was. And nobody even really said, go listen to it. I just heard the name coming around a lot. So I just stumbled into it. God, I'm glad I did. I'm so glad I did.
I was looking for the Magnus Archives because somebody had recommended that to me because I'm a big fan of SCPs. So I was just sitting in my car getting ready to go to work, and I typed in Magnus Archives. For some reason, it wasn't pulling up, and Archive 81 popped up, and I was like, oh, maybe this is what they're talking about. And I didn't want to get out of my fucking car to go into the office.
Serendipitous, man. Happy accident.
There you go.
All right, so being a horror narrator, I'm sure you are deep into the world of creepypasta. You know them, you love them, they've affected you, they've made you lose sleep.
Yes. Yep. Sorry, yep. I wasn't sure if you were still going with that one.
Oh, yeah, I'm absolutely. Sorry, I'm still going. I apologize, man. This really is the way I actually talk, too. It's probably easier seeing my face and inflection. I'm sorry.
No, don't even worry about it. But yeah, creepypasta, it's where I started, and I don't plan on slowing down with it anytime soon. I know it, I love it, and I hate it at the same time.
We're sitting down with the host from the Irrational Fears Podcast. We're going to be talking about our top 5 creepypastas. What do you got for number 5 for us?
Number 5, I was supposed to actually rank them. I was just like, here's 5.
Oh, you don't have to rank them. I mean, to be honest with you, especially my top 3, they kind of change depending on what mood I'm in for me. So, I mean, whatever you've got written as number 5 on your list.
I'm going to have to say tulpas, I think, are going to be in my top 5 for sure.
Tulpas. For those, for our listeners that are not big into creepypastas or don't know about them, can you give us a little bit of a breakdown for it? That one's not on my list, but it's a great one.
Yeah, so the tulpa is the idea that you can create another one of yourself that will slowly take over your life, and then you will become the tulpa, and the tulpa will step into your life and just kind of leave you behind.
Damn.
And I don't that thought. I know it's probably not real. Probably, I don't know. Everything's real, right? But
has the possibility to be, I guess.
it terrifies me to the core.
All right, number 5, tulpas. Good pull. For me, my number 5, Smile Dog. Smile Dog, one of the OG creepypastas, one of the first ones I stumbled across before I knew what creepypastas were. Smile Dog is about a guy that is investigating this online urban legend, which is the original definition of creepypastas. It was online urban legends. And the urban legend is of this picture that was sent around in forums and in chat rooms and ultimately through email of this dog, usually portrayed as a husky or believed to be a husky, smiling from ear to ear. And if you type in smile dog into Google right now, you're going to see some pictures. You're going to see a husky with a giant shit-eating grin on its face. Very unnerving, very uncanny valley on that thing. So the legend has it that when you stumble across the actual picture of the smile dog, it will start to penetrate your nightmares, and it will start telling you to spread the word, and drive you insane that way. And on his quest to find the truth, he comes across this woman who had seen the original picture of Smile Dog, and she ultimately ends up committing suicide because she was driven insane by the spirit or entity or whatever it was that was tied to this picture. Just very unnerving. I mean, in some stories, the Smile Dog picture, when you find the original one, it's said to be a picture of the devil himself that's floating around on the internet. So let that sink into your brains, that out there somewhere on the internet, there's a picture of the devil himself.
And it's one of the few things that will keep me scrolling if I come across it, his Smile Dog. That and Jeff the Killer, I'll just keep boop, boop, boop. I don't even see that. I'll keep rolling down. Thank you.
Jeff the Killer, too. Is that one on your list?
It is not, but that one is Smile Dog reminded me.
Fair enough. We'll touch back on Jeff the Killer. We'll do a couple of honorable mentions at the end there. But we'll go back to Jeff the Killer for those of our audience that doesn't know what that is. All right, number 4 for you. What do you got?
I'd have to go with the Smiling Man, probably.
Oh, the Smiling Man. Yes.
Yeah, so I think that was the first story that I did on Irrational Fears in my 31 Days of Horror, because it's probably one of my favorite stories just ever. And I used to walk to work a lot, and I was working at 4 a.m. and it was a 2-hour walk to work. So the idea that there was somebody on the street with me like that on that long ass walk to work,
right.
Yeah, it feels really personal.
Smiling Man, that one, I know that it was on No Sleep, but I believe it originated on another subreddit called I Hope We Don't Meet or something like that.
Let's Not Meet.
Let's Not Meet?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Fair enough. Allegedly, true story, the Smiling Man. This guy with giant grin, just basically shuffle dancing down the street in a slow roundabout way, ends up chasing the person telling the story. Who's just out taking a nice leisure midnight stroll. This guy just doing a little shuffle ball change dance right down the street, ends up following this guy and just ultimately disappearing. There's really no paranormal elements to this story whatsoever. It's just an idea of maybe this guy was drunk, maybe he was high, maybe he was insane, maybe you just wanted to fuck with him. But the idea that there's somebody that's just so acting so creepy and spastic, that's chasing you, just... oh man, it just digs itself into your subconscious.
It's a little too real.
Right, exactly. It's a little too real in that it could happen in any, not even city, but small town. It could happen basically anywhere. All you need is a street, a sidewalk, a couple of blocks, and some streetlights. That's all you need for this story to happen to you.
Yep, and that motherfucker is there.
Mm-hmm. This is also one of the few creepypastas that I've stumbled across that actually had a short film made about it. And not only a short film made, but a very well done short film made about it. Mind-bogglingly terrifying. Brooke watched it. It's only about 3 minutes long. She was so mad at me for about 2 or 3 days because it just kept her up at night. Just the look on this guy's face. Oh man, it's so good. Have you seen the video for it?
I have not, but again, I'm sitting in front of my computer and I'm about to queue it up for when we're done here.
No doubt, man. I'll stay on the line with you just to hear your reaction to it.
Oh, man.
Number 4 for me. Potentially even still ongoing. I don't know. I haven't checked it out in a while. But one of my all-time favorites, 1999.
I don't think I have seen that one.
All right. This story, one of my all-time favorites. It is about a guy that lives up in Canada, and he's kind of reminiscing and basically being forced to relive these weird events that happened to him when he was a kid. All right. He was a big fan of this local community access television show. or rather local community access television network that had a bunch of shows on there. One of them called Mr. Bear's Basement, one of them called Booby.
Oh,
like
shit. Okay.
You know which one I'm talking about now?
Absolutely. Yep. There it is.
As soon as I said Mr. Bear, you're like, oh, fuck Mr. Bear. Fuck you, Bear. You're right up there with Freddy to me. Fuck you, Bear.
You woke up something in me.
So this kid is, he's in college, but this guy is reliving and reminiscing about a lot of these shows that he used to watch because they all tie to something, a narrative that's going on in his current timeline, in present day. He's being contacted by a guy claiming to be Mr. Bear via email. And Mr. Bear actually got in touch with him when he was a child and invited him to come over to his basement to watch a live filming. And long story short, because this is a very, very long story, it's broken up into several parts, several postings. This guy used his shows as almost a front to lure kids to his residence and satanically and ritualistically sacrifice them. So lots of the stuff that you were seeing was him torturing children and ultimately killing them and burning their bodies. And he even recorded some of this when he was disposing of some of the bodies and put it up as one of the episodes of his show. And it's just so disturbing. Not only the way the narrator portrays it, the narrator portrays it, the way he almost seems unreliable in some of the instances, just because he even says that he can't remember all the details about it, but this is what he does remember. So you've got the unreliable narrator feel to it as well. But the part that really sticks with me is the fact that this happens in Canada. Now, people can laugh all they want about this, but I mean, I live in Buffalo, New York. I live very close to Canada, and the running joke here is all Canadians do is smile, drink beer, and play hockey, and drink Tim Hortons. But I mean, this is a country that gives us Kayla Homokin and that Bernardo guy, you know, the serial killers, the Ken and Barbie killers, Paul Bernardo. Thank you. This is a country that has, you know, miles and miles and miles of, you know, uninhabited area. It's a place that, you know, generally speaking, I think of and smile, and this is happening up in Canada. Now, yeah, bad shit can happen anywhere, but I don't know. To me, it just makes it that much more unsettling.
It's kind of like I don't know how to, I had a thought and now it's all gone.
I'm sorry, I just
it was nice knowing you.
Next time, just be like, shut your face, you fat piece of shit. I got something to say here.
Because I was going to agree with that last point. It's just like the idea that Canada is just like this beautiful place and everybody's nice and they're all apologetic when you fucking like bump into them in the grocery store and shit. And for somebody to be out there luring children in such just like a happy, nice place, it's
in a bear suit.
In a fucking bear suit. I'm already off. Thanks.
Exactly. I mean, when I think of Canada, I think of that line from Kevin Smith's movie Tusk. You know, Americans are down here, you know, red, white, and blue. Canadians, red, white, but never blue. Never blue. And you know what? Based on the Canadians that I've met, one of them is family, married into my family. It's accurate. It's very fucking accurate. I've seen Canadians get pissed off. I've never seen one get depressed.
Yep, that's every single one that I've known. My boss is Canadian, and she's always, like, even if it's a bad day, she's always finding a way to put a smile on her face. And it's I don't know if it unsettles me or not, but it's impressive. I can tell you that. I don't know what it is about Canada that makes them so damn happy.
Number 3, what do you got for us?
I'm going to go with, I feel bad putting this so low on the list, but I'm going to go with Candle Cove, I think.
Oh, Candle Cove. That one's on my list as well. As a matter of fact, I'll just move that around to Candle Cove. We'll talk some Candle Cove here because we got plenty we can talk about.
There we go. I haven't seen the sci-fi. I don't know what the show is called. I haven't gotten around
Channel
to it.
Zero.
Yes,
Channel
I've
Zero.
heard really good things about it, but I haven't gotten around to it just yet.
It's very, very good. 6 episodes in the first season. Season 1 deals completely with Candle Cove. My only real qualm is they changed some of the names of the puppets. Like the Skin Taker becomes Jawbone. Laughingstock is still the Laughingstock. Pirate Percy is still Pirate Percy. And they changed the lore a little bit to kind of fit a story that they wanted to tell. Which, you know, ultimately is fine. But Candle Cove is built around the lore. The original stories were built around the lore. The original story, the very first one, was told in a chat room or on a forum post.
Right.
And that was the way it was portrayed. And
I'm assuming is that not how they take it?
That is not how they
Channel
take
Zero?
it. No, that's not how they take it at all. What they do is effective. The cinematography that they use is captivating. You know, Sci-Fi Channel shows have a certain look. You know, they always have that certain look to them. This show does not. This show looks like it could be on Cinemax, HBO, Showtime, FX. It looks like it could be anywhere where there's a show that you want to watch. AMC, you know, The Walking Dead, Preacher, and all that. You know, the visual aesthetic looks like it could be on any of those networks. It just happens to be on Sci-Fi. So, and I haven't seen that in a long time. You know, the closest that I've seen to that is Battlestar Galactica, but even that had a sci-fi-esque look to it.
Right. You can still kind of feel it.
Right. You can still feel, this feels like a sci-fi show. Channel Zero does not have that. And it also has other elements that don't take place in the creepypasta, which we will get to. We will tell you guys all about the actual creepypasta, the inspiration for Channel Zero, if you will. But one of the things that they brought into the narrative in Channel Zero that I personally loved was this little bone creature. Not bone tooth creature. It's like a little... has the appearance of almost like a 10-year-old boy who's composed entirely of teeth.
I've seen pictures. That's
and I've said this to other people that have been on the show. At least to me, this kid looks more, I'm assuming it's a kid, looks more like a resident or a denizen of Silent Hill than any of the other creatures you have ever seen in any of the Silent Hill movies. He looks like he would be right at home in the video game series. And I mean that as a huge compliment because I'm a huge fan of the video game series.
Yeah, that's saying. I'm looking at him right now, and I can see it for sure.
You see what I'm saying?
Why the fuck is somebody sticking their fingers in his mouth?
I don't know, man. I don't understand. I don't understand.
My palms are sweaty just looking at it. All right, this is going well.
You want to tell us a little bit about Candle Cove as far as the lore, the creepypasta of it all?
Yeah, so Candle Cove, like you said, started out as a talk on a forum about a kids' TV show that this one person remembered and was like, does anybody remember this fucking pirate show, this Candle Cove? I don't remember if they remembered the name or not off the top, but more and more people started to build in and they were like, oh my God, I fucking love that show. But looking back on it as an adult, kind of creepy. And as time goes on, they start to realize that maybe this show was actually real, but there's no, it's like Shazam. We all fucking remember it being real when we were kids, but
you can't find it.
Right. There's no recollection of it, like no physical evidence that it actually existed.
Shazam.
God, I just fucking triggered myself. Now I'm pissed. That movie's fucking real.
Shaquille O'Neal was a genie. Oh, God.
Oh, man.
Why did it happen? No, but that's true.
But yeah, and it's been a long time since I read it, but that's... If you want to take over from there, because like I said, it's been a long time. I don't want to butcher it.
Not a problem. No, you definitely got the gist of it. And from there, that original post, basically, you got most of it. But the way that they wrapped up that very first original one is this guy writing in and saying, oh yeah, I definitely remember that show. I actually just brought it up to my mom. And here's the creepy part. My mom said, oh yeah, I remember you used to talk about that pirate show all the time. I always kind of thought it was a little bit funny that you'd sit in front of that TV for a half hour to an hour every single day with nothing but the static on.
There it is.
So you're left to wonder, did this show actually exist? Are we seeing mass hysteria right here on the internet? And there are just a bunch of people that are just kind of creating a show in their brains, just kind of coming up with something on the spot as almost like a form of mass hysteria? Because it seems like everybody believes it. Or did this show actually exist and it's just out there, just almost like a phantom broadcast, a phantom show that adults couldn't see or something?
Right.
And then the creepypastas go on from there too. My favorite one of the series, I think, was the second post of this, which was following an investigative journalist that was looking into Candle Cove, and he starts interviewing and trying to locate all the people that worked on the original show. And from there, you start to go deeper into the lore, including the infamous screaming episode, which was literally 30 minutes of the entire cast and crew screaming to the point where some of the cast was permanently injured. Like, their vocal cords were permanently injured from doing that episode. And the director comes on stage and starts ripping things down and starts destroying sets and whatnot. And to think that there are directors out there that are probably that fucking nuts, like Stanley Kubrick or, to a degree, James Cameron. I mean, you hear reports about that guy shooting cell phones with nail guns and whatnot because no cell phones on my set. But I don't know, man. There's something so innocent about a kid's show. You know, I think back on Eureka's Castle with fond memories. But to have something like that, like a kid's show, something with puppets and marionettes, and just have this horrifying lore sprout from that is just unsettling in its deepest core. You know, for anyone who maybe you're only 13 years old, maybe you're 91 years old, but you have these memories of something that brought you joy as a child. And to have something frightening come from some of these nostalgic memories just plants its seeds, man, and it just... Ooh.
And I think that goes back to the whole Irrational Fears idea that kids fucking scare me. And I think it's...
Here.
I think it's the idea that they're just everything is so innocent and everything... I mean, maybe not everything, but there's so many things that just make them happy. And it's the idea that a kid's show that if you were to see it now as an adult would be fucking terrifying. And it makes them smile. And it's what was going on in our minds and how did that change over the years to make that actually us? Do we now realize that it's scary, or do we make it scary in our minds? I'm gonna get all fucked. I'm gonna have an existential crisis with you right now.
Is it something that's deep inside you, like innocence lost, and your brain trying to rationalize the fact that you're never going to have that innocence and wonder of a child again? Or is there something more sinister lurking behind the scenes?
Right, and is it kind of like that? Is it like a hive mind thing? Do we just all believe it because we should believe it, so then it becomes real? Or is it, like you said, something more sinister there that's just kind of fucking with us and trying to take some of us away?
Oh, dude, I'm going to have to re-listen to Candle Cove again. I'm going to have to re-listen to it. Do you have narration of Candle Cove on your podcast?
Not yet.
Why? You got to make this happen, man. Candle Cove. Let's do it.
I won't put something up on the podcast unless I can talk to the author first. And I'm looking at his name right now, and I'm wondering how easy it would be to get in touch with him.
I think it's a her, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know. It says credited to Chris Straub. Maybe that's just the person who posted it where I'm looking.
Chris Stroud does sound right. I thought that Chris Stroud was female. I'm not positive on that. Don't quote me on that. Chris Stroud, if you're listening, I'm sorry for one way or the other. I thought I heard that you were a woman.
Did you just assume their gender? It's 2016 all over again, Robert. I thought we were leaving that in the past.
God damn it. I got to check my cis privilege. Okay, so that was number 3 for both of us. Number 4, I'll take this one first, Abandoned by Disney. This one got me in every single way. I know the author for this one, the original author, he was Slime Beast. This one got me in every single aspect of fear because I absolutely love Disney. I love Disney so much. First time I went to Disney World, I was 11 years old. Last time I went was probably 2 years ago. My wife and I used to go every single year. We've got Disney memorabilia everywhere just because we're big fucking kids, man. I love Disney. I'm sitting here with Disney merchandise right in front of me. A Kylo Ren goblet and a Darth Vader candy dispenser, I guess. I don't know. With Mickey ears right next to him. Now, what this story is about is a theme park, which was real, that was abandoned by Disney, and you're led to believe that the reason for this park's closing and, abandonment was due to parasites and amoebas in the water, which, to be honest with you, in certain areas where Disney has built is a real thing. It is a problem. Amoebas, paramecium, any of these single-celled organisms that could legitimately make people sick. I mean, there's types of amoeba that legitimately could turn you into a zombie. Look it up. Google.com, man. I'm not joking. So this urban explorer breaks into this amusement park and starts kind of snooping around, taking a look at things, and then realizes that this place, which was Mowgli's palace, it was supposed to have a jungle feel to it. Lots of the animals were let out, and he realizes this after he sees a giant python slithering by. I'm not afraid of snakes, but the imagery that Slime Beast uses when he wrote it was terrifying. Jumping to the end, he ends up down in the staff room, all right, where all of the costume people, all of the workers would hang out. And he sees a lot of these costumes just kind of lined up. He sees Donald Duck, he sees Goofy, and he sees a Mickey Mouse costume down on the ground. And he's like, okay. So he's looking around and he's taking some pictures. And all day he's been seeing this sign, abandoned by Disney, abandoned by Disney. And then down there he sees written on the wall, abandoned by God. And he turns around and he sees Mickey, the Mickey that was down on the floor laying there. He now sees Mickey standing up with his head kind of cocked to the side. And he says to him, hey, want to see my head come off? And boom, the guy bolts from there. And the reason that this gets to me so much is just, again, because of that innocence bastardized feeling. You know what I mean? Something that you love so much turning sinister and turning wrong, turning tainted. And oh man, it just, and not to mention the writing was spectacular. It just gets me in every fucking corpuscle. It just gets to me, man.
Yeah, there's something about it. And with Disney, just the image that it has, and again, with it's all just happy feelings every time you think about it. And I'm sitting here and you're talking about it, it's giving me chills, and I'm kind of following along as you're saying it all. And it's just that actually I did an episode about Disney's River County. That was another abandoned theme park that they had. And it's the kind of shit that you wouldn't doubt that kind of stuff might have happened. Like, I'm a big believer in the paranormal, so I wouldn't.
Same here.
I wouldn't put this off to the wayside too easy. And it just, I can't talk. Why? I'm on a fucking podcast. I can't talk. I turned around and looked at the camera like somebody's, like I'm being filmed, and give it a little Jim face. What is happening?
Jim from The Office?
Oh, let's not go there. I love that show.
I'm a huge fan of The Office, dude. I love that show.
I think I've sat through it probably like 48 times. And when I got with my girlfriend, we were talking about it and she had never seen it. And I was like, you sit your ass down and you watch it right now. And I don't think I could pull her away from the TV until it was over.
This is going to happen to you. You're just going to have to sit back and let it happen to you all over your face, neck, and chest. You just need to accept Dwight into your life.
And Breaking Bad is next.
There you go. There you go. Where does Game of Thrones fall onto the list, man?
Just the fact that it's fucking 6 seasons long now at this point. I'm caught up, but I don't know if I could watch the first 5 seasons again with her. I don't know. That might be like blasphemous to some people, but...
A touch to me, but I kind of get it, especially seeing as though I've seen the first 3 seasons probably, without exaggeration, 12 times a piece. So I get it, but I'm pretty sure from a different perspective.
Yeah. So we'll just pretend I didn't say that to all your listeners.
But going back to Disney, man, I completely agree. And the River County, I know a lot of the stories from the River County, kind of like an abandoned field as well. And I think another reason why these, and Abandoned by Disney, and Room Zero, I think the reason that these really get to me and really stick with me is because every time I go to Disney, I've always got my laptop and, I've always got a book that I read. Usually I'm bringing Joe Hill, because he's one of my favorite authors. But I'm always a big fan. Every time I travel, I love to hear the ghost stories about wherever we're staying. And we always stay right there at Disney. So obviously I'm going to be looking up ghost stories about Disney World. And some of the stories, man, they're just terrifying. Like, allegedly, I'm going to put this out on Front Street, allegedly. We're going to be litigious here because, you got to pay the mouse. I don't want Mickey suing me. But allegedly...
Or coming for your head at this point.
Or coming for my head at this point. That's right. Allegedly, there is a ghost that haunts the Pirates of the Caribbean. And every time the cast members, which is what they call the workers there, don't talk with him or don't say goodnight to him, the ride will break down. And then they have to yell at him a little bit. And Brooke can verify this. She can corroborate this on our next episode, the next one that she's on. we were in line for the Pirates of the Caribbean, and the ride did break down for a couple of seconds. They had a small glitch. And we did hear one of the cast members yell up at the ghost. I want to say the ghost's name is Pete or something like that. I forget. Might have been George. But they did yell up at that ghost, and somebody did make mention of, oh yeah, he's screwing with us again. We'll get this ride back up in a second. And then it just went on like nothing ever happened. No other words were said. But I had already heard that story. I'd read it on that particular trip. In Pirates of the Caribbean being Magic Kingdom, I'd read it probably 2 or 3 nights before, so it was fresh in my memory. And I just found that to be frightening, I guess. And another one is the Haunted Mansion. On all iterations across the world, in all the Disney parks, the Haunted Mansion, weirdly enough, truly is a mecca for people to dump ashes. Because everybody wants to have their ashes scattered at Disney, the happiest place on earth, man. And the Haunted Mansion, due to the fact that it's one of the darkest rides in the park, and, it also has that haunted feeling and haunted vibe, I guess people think that it's lots of people's favorite ride as well. I guess a lot of people feel that that's the appropriate place to dump the ashes. While it's verified and corroborated that lots of people have done that over time. And supposedly, every single version of the Haunted Mansion is legitimately haunted because of that. Now, a lot of this also ties back to whether or not you believe in ghosts, but there you have it.
See, and I like the sound of that because it's designed to give you that feel that it's haunted and it's creepy, but at the same time, it's Disneyland, so you also want to feel happy and excited going in there. But there's something about the Haunted Mansion ride that it's still, it just doesn't feel right, and I'm glad I'm not crazy and feeling like that.
Not at all, man. Not even at all. So, and that's Disneyland, Disney World, Disney Tokyo, Disney France, Disney Belgium, wherever the hell there's a Disney. Every version of the Haunted Mansion. Interesting fact, every single house for the Haunted Mansion is also built differently to go along with the architecture of that area and that region.
Leave it to Disney.
Leave it to Disney, man. And every one of them also has a different backstory. The coolest one, in my opinion, is Tokyo, because Japanese ghosts scare the shit out of me.
Fuck, man. I'm just getting into, God, what is his name? Ito, I think the manga artist.
Oh, yes.
God, I was sitting at work the other day, and I really hope my boss is somehow listening to this. And wasn't a lot going on, so I was just browsing Imager, and I came across the Ito comic about human-shaped holes in the wall.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Fuck.
I'm sitting here with a couple copies on my desk right now, so I know what you're talking about, man.
I was sitting down and I'm scrolling through it, and there's something about the way the Japanese culture deals with like death and the paranormal that makes it again just feel so real that it's too good to not be as off the wall as some of it might be.
Completely agreed, man. What I love, and a lot of people don't, but what I love about Japanese ghost stories is over here in America, we have a very Western feel, a very Western vibe to us. Our ghost stories, our monster movies, they're all morality tales. Eastern stories are not like that. In America, you've got the Scream rules. If you follow these rules, you will survive a horror movie. In Japan, you are in the wrong place at the wrong time. You are fucked, and there's nothing you can do. Doesn't matter how good of a person you are. You're fucked.
If that ghost wants you, that ghost is going to get you.
Exactly. So that is just frightening to me. But back to the list, man. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say that in Disney Tokyo has that new fucking Tron roller coaster.
Yeah.
God. I mean, that might be a little off topic, but I'm not a big fan of roller coasters, but I fucking love Tron, and I need to get my ass on that light cycle.
Oh, dude, I'm right there with you. Let me know when you're going. We'll go to Disney together, man. We'll have a podcast team up.
We'll fucking make it happen.
We're going to be podcasting Disney World live. Disney World Tokyo live, man. That's what we're going to do.
I'm into it.
I'm only half kidding. I really will do that.
Don't fuck with me. We're trying to plan a trip overseas right now to go to a Disney park. So maybe that might not be that crazy of an idea.
Hey, let me know, man. If you're interested, I'm interested.
It'll probably happen now at this point. Again, you heard it first. Nerdynomics and Irrational Fears at Disney Tokyo screaming their heads off on the Tron roller coaster for about 2.5 hours straight. Get your earbuds ready.
This is happening. Number 4 on your list. What do you got?
I'm gonna go probably the Rake and Slender Man.
Are you combining them both into 4?
I want to say so. Just
I like that. I like that.
The Rake, because he goes like hand in hand with Slender Man, and I feel like that's
yes.
They could go hand in hand into my list.
Very much agreed. The Rake, even more so terrifying to me than the Slender Man, which was actually my bridge to getting into creepypastas. Smile Dog was the very first one I read, but the Rake, Slender Man, helped me to figure out what creepypastas actually were. Because I started researching him and getting into him, and I'm like, oh my god, this is a thing? This is definitive proof of paranormal. Oh, he was a film project that started a story. Well, shit on me. What the hell?
Shouldn't have researched so hard.
Exactly, man, because I spent like a week being fucking terrified. And all to find out that the Slender Man was all these pictures that are out there from him. No, they were created for a reason. They were created as a photography project. And wow, that really got to me. But the Rake is one that still sticks with me to this day because A, most of the stories take place in the Buffalo, Niagara region. And B, there's a lot of footage online about this. So, I mean, probably mostly just stories I'm going to say, but there's still, the Rake is one of them where there's just that possibility of if, you know?
Right, it's just enough. The Slender Man, I guess the story that was built around him was as a kind of a German folktale of a man who was always in a suit. He was tall and his arms and legs and fingers were too long for his body and he had no face. Mm-hmm. And he would come out and steal children at night and take them out into the forest and either mutilate them or just kind of like leave them to die. And I don't know if you've ever, if you want to get into it, there's like YouTube series like Marble Hornets is probably one of my favorite YouTube series of all time.
Yep.
And sit down and watch that and cry yourself to not sleep at night because you're going to be too fucking terrified that you're going to be murdered by the Collective or whatever their name is.
I think it was the Collective. Tribe 12 was always my favorite.
My little brother got me into Tribe 12. I made it about halfway through before Irrational Fears took over my fucking life.
Funny story about Marble Hornets. Stumbled onto it by accident after playing Slenderman the game. I'm hanging out with my wife and one of our buddies, Ian, and we started watching Marble Hornets, not realizing that we were watching them in reverse order. So we started out, we ended up watching the entire series that was up at that point, almost like it was the movie Memento. So we're starting out with the Collective and everything like that, and seeing the Slenderman, and everybody keeps talking about this guy named Brian, like he was some sort of big deal. And we're waiting for Brian to show up, and he's just not there. Long story short, if you've seen him, Brian is in the first probably 5 to 10 episodes, if that, but then never seen again. But everybody keeps making mention of him. So we start to get in our heads that he's, this huge character, only to be ultimately disappointed. So as we're getting countdown to seeing Brian, we turned it into a drinking game. And every time somebody said the name Brian, we'd shout out, Brian! And take a sip. We were hammered.
You barely made it through the rest of the fucking series at that point.
We didn't make it through the rest of the series at that point. We got close, man, so close. We were single digits. I think we left off at episode 5, maybe? I mean, we had met Brian. We had finally gotten there, but damn, we were hammered. So that should be any filmmaker's homework for the week, okay? Sit down, and if there's something that you think is important or something that's not important, make a drinking game out of it. And if you're hammered at the end of your intellectual property, you put it in too much. Because Brian was not that big of a character.
That's probably the best and worst advice you could give to anybody creating anything.
Simultaneously, I completely agree. And this is coming from a writer, producer, podcaster as well. No, I'm not going to be taking that advice at all, but I'm going to give it to everybody.
You probably want to find that happy medium. You want that jolly buzz that you feel a little bit in the morning.
Exactly.
You probably have a good amount.
Exactly. If you're sloshed and you're doing shots and you're legitimately saying, we're driving to Mexico, you've said it too much. And if you're making only a 90-minute feature, you've really said it too much.
I feel like you're trying to speak to somebody who might not be listening right now. Like, you need to just back it up a little bit.
I'm chastising myself. I'm just chastising myself.
And if you're playing that drinking game with shots, we might need to have a talk.
Yeah, exactly. But no, you definitely summed up Slender Man. The Rake. Tell us a little bit about him.
The Rake, I don't remember where that started. I don't know if it was like simultaneously with Slender Man or if it kind of came out a little bit later, but the Rake is this sometimes humanoid figure that it shares a lot of the powers with Slender Man, and he can disrupt like electromagnetic fields, so you shouldn't be able to catch him on film or record him in any way, and he can make his way into any place. You basically can't get away from him, and he's just got these long, sharp, razor blade like fingers, and he's known for eviscerating his victims after torturing them for however long it sees. I keep saying he, but it sees fit. And they kind of we mentioned the collective, but I think it's been speculated, and it's hard to say speculated for a fictional story, but it's been speculated that he was a part of the collective and was exposed to some kind of radiation that gave him the powers of, like, we're fucking writing a comic book, but that gave him the powers of Slender Man, and he just kind of became his own thing and started murdering people. I make it sound so fun.
You do, actually. I'm like, is that a comic book? Is that a thing? Because I want more of this, man. But
I feel like there's not enough Rake out there. With it being so high on my list, I feel like there definitely needs to be more.
There should be more. I mean, the Rake is on a lot of people's top lists because it's legitimately frightening. But there should be more Rake. The Rake is definitely highly prevalent in the new comic book coming out by Mr. Creepypasta and Vincent Vanicava. I was lucky enough to get my hands on the digital copy, and I read it. Just very brief review. I'm going to keep my review for the actual comic until I've got the paper copy in my hand. But very brief review. It's fucking fantastic. It's absolutely great. Art, story, dialogue, it's great. And one of the stories does deal very deeply with the Rake. So I was very happy to see that.
I have not heard of this comic book.
Oh, it's a thing. Creepypasta, the comic book.
I'm going to go yell at him on Twitter that I need to know what this is all about.
It's a thing, man. They had a Kickstarter up for it and everything. He was on my old show, Lords of the Polygon Table. It's still kicking around in the aether somewhere. Before I closed that down to start up my podcasting company here, Artful Gremlins, he was the last guest that I had on that show. So
now I need to Creepypasta the comic book. That sounds like something I would buy anyways. But
same
now
here.
I know that it's by Mr. Creepypasta. That changes things.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. Yeah, Spike's definitely killing it out there. He really is.
He's got it going on.
Number 5 on my list, the final one on my list, man. This one has got to be one of my all-time favorite creepypastas on the internet. I've loved every iteration I've ever heard. One by Mr. Creepypasta, on No Sleep, on various other shows. The Showers. I love this story. Not typically on a lot of people's lists of creepypastas. I've only seen it on one top list ever, and much props to that person whose name I completely forget. So I'm sorry you're not getting a shout out. I'll hunt down your name and I'll give you a shout out in another episode.
Just edit it in later. Nobody has to know.
The basis of this story is a guy. As he was a child, he loved telling scary stories. Every town has their urban legends and whatnot. And he loved to tell these stories and perpetuate them and change them and refine them. Even sometimes broke the rules and inserted himself into them and just loved to throw them out there. Sometimes came up with his own and, would like to think that he contributed to some of the great urban legends that are out there in America. And on one Halloween, his favorite teacher dimmed the lights and told his class a ghost story about when he and a couple of his college friends went out for a road trip and got lost in Nebraska and ended up stumbling into this old barn. And in this barn, one of his friends got knocked out, and as they're trying to take care of him, they look around and see all of these children with long hair and long gowns, kind of walking disheveled, looking menacing, and coming after them. So they all get in their car and they speed out of there, and, he tells that story every year. This character runs into his teacher several years later while he's at college, and the teacher confesses to him that, yeah, that is a true story. That really did happen, and my therapist recommended that I tell the story more and more just to get it out there and out of my brain so it doesn't eat up at me. And as for the kid that got knocked out, he never made it, and nobody ever found the body. Teacher dies a few weeks later. Jumping to the end of the story, this main character goes on his own quest, his own epic road trip, if you will, with one of his college friends to kind of, as a tribute to his old teacher, and they try to locate this place that was called The Showers, the place from his teacher's story, and they do find it. So, and that's where I'm going to leave it for you, because I don't want to ruin the entirety of this story. It's not that long. You can get through it in about 40 minutes. So, but this is just one of my all-time favorite ones. It hits everything so perfectly. You've got the small town feel. You've got out in the middle of nowhere. You've got frightening kids. You've got ghost stories. You've got death. You've got uncertainty. You've got the idea that this is a person that has loved his entire life, has loved telling scary stories, and now he's telling one that is legitimately true. So you have that boy who cried wolf feeling to it as well, where he legitimately tells you, I used to love telling these stories, but this time I'm promising you the wolf is real. So you've still got that feeling of, is this a true story or is this not a true story? And it has always gotten me so well. And I will always recommend listening to an audio narrated version of this as opposed to just reading it yourself, because every version I've ever heard has just hit it so perfectly. They've just nailed it.
Yeah, that one's getting, again, you said it and that name didn't ring a bell, and I'm scrolling through it again as you're talking about it. I'm going to add that one to my list, and I think I might do the same thing, just sit and listen to Mr. Creepypasta give me nightmares tonight.
Right on, man.
He's over here. He's going to be listening to this episode. And he's like, you better fucking say it, Rob. Who's your favorite narrator?
It's like, say it! Say it!
Survive
pulling
one
a Sam Kinison on me. All right, so final one for you, my friend.
I'm going to go with Mr. Widemouth.
Mr. Widemouth. You might have me stumped, dude. I don't think I know this one.
I was going to say, I got to get you at least once, because you got me a couple of times around here. But Mr. Widemouth was something that I wish I could remember how I came across it originally. I don't remember if it was on No Sleep or not. But it goes back, ties into the whole children and innocence thing, about a kid who falls really sick, and ends up being stuck in his room with a really bad fever for a long time. And I believe it's under his bed. His new imaginary friend, Mr. Widemouth, is like, hey, let's have some fun. And he gets the kid out of bed and starts to make him feel better. But he's having him do these dangerous things like trying to juggle knives and drink bleach and shit like that. And just basically kind of putting the kid in danger. But again, because he's a kid, he's like, I don't know if this is a bad idea, but I kind of like you, so maybe we should go do that. And the story goes on with him dealing with this fever and dealing with being sick for so long, and Mr. Widemouth becoming more and more of kind of like a stern friend, more than just like the happy-go-lucky, let's do this if you want. He's more like, we need to do this and you're going to do it now. And at one point, I think, tries to get him to jump out of a third-story window onto the invisible trampoline out front.
Jesus.
Yeah, I think it resonates with me because I remember having an imaginary friend as a kid, and like I said, kids scare me, and if mine has an imaginary friend, can I just like return it? Return to sender or something? I don't know. Don't tell Brooke I said that, and don't tell my girlfriend, but like we don't need that in the house.
No, I hear you. I hear you. There comes a certain point where you're reading this and it's like, yeah, can vasectomies be made, retroactive? Can that happen here?
We're just a little late. It's okay.
You got me on that one, man. I don't think I've ever heard that one. Now I've got something to listen to tonight to give me nightmares.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites. And when Max is over there and he's talking to his friend in the living room, you can thank me for making you read Mr. Widemouth. And
Thanks, you ass.
Locking him in the closet so he can't make any more invisible friends.
The power of Christ compels you, son. The power of Christ. Power of Christ. I'm chasing him around the house, trying to give him the Eucharist. Yeah. My house is about to get weird. Honorable mentions times before we get out of here, man. Jeff the Killer, you mentioned that one earlier. That one is on almost everybody's top lists.
Yeah, I think it's one of those, I don't want to make it sound bad, but it's just one of those like low-hanging fruit. If you're talking about creepypasta, everybody knows about Jeff the Killer, whether you know what it's about, if you've read it yourself, but everybody knows what it is.
Yeah, clickbait more than anything. Basically, if you know anything about creepypasta, you've stumbled across Jeff the Killer. Not one of my personal favorites at all. I've always found this one a bit, although fine, a bit on the pedestrian side of horror. You know what I mean? When you've got things like Wide Mouth, you're giving me nightmares about already. You've got things like The Shower. You've got things like Candle Cove or any of the other honorable mentions I'm going to throw out there. I personally just feel like there's other things that kind of get to me more. But, I mean, this is blasphemy to a lot of people out there because Jeff the Killer is a lot of people's favorites. Dickie from Couldn't Be Models went dressed as Jeff the Killer for Halloween a couple of years ago. So what do I know?
Yeah, I think that you kind of hit the nail on the head, though, with the pedestrian side of it. That there's nothing wrong with it being on your top list.
Not at all. Not at all.
If you're deep into it, you're kind of like, maybe it's not the best of them all. There's better stuff out there, for sure.
The other two that I've got written down on my list, Nowhere House, which I just absolutely love, which will be the second season of Channel Zero on Sci-Fi, coming out next fall. Nowhere House, No End House. Broken up into 3 different stories, basically about a haunted house that keeps on going through layers and layers and layers, and the further you go, the deeper the scares. It starts out with rubber masks and rubber snakes and bad sound effects. It ends with a girl transforming into the Baphomet, and that's before you realize that you're not even sure if it's really ended yet. Definitely one to check out. Absolutely horrifying. Cannot wait for Sci-Fi's interpretation of it.
That's one of those things that just by hearing about it, you can tell it's already going to lend itself really well to a screen,
right?
As much as it does to like a written medium. That's what I was looking for.
It was better. It was in the same wheelhouse as 1408, but in my opinion, 1408 on steroids is what No End House is like. How you have all these false endings and false starts, and there's always that unsettling feeling, and there's always that fear, but it keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper. It's like that, only it takes it to where it should have gone instead of where it ended up going in 1408. So if you like that movie in any way, you will love No End House. And if you hated that movie, give No End House a chance anyway, but that's what you're going to be going into it with a feeling of. So that would be how I describe it.
It sounds a lot like Spooky's House of Horrors. Or Spooky's House of Jump Scares, I think is what it is, that Steam game. I don't know if you...
Yes. It's a lot like that.
Oh, sign me up.
Final one on my list, one of Brooke's all-time favorites, Normal Porn for Normal People. This one is a mindfuck because it's essentially about a guy that sits down and is almost like a chain letter or, a forwarding post and whatnot, gets this link that sends him to a web page with a bunch of embedded videos in the text there. And the more you click around on them, the more weird videos you end up seeing. Some of them just as a mime sitting there crying. Others, a man who has no legs walking around on his hands. One of them, a lady shaves a chimp. And another one, a chimp is ripping off a lady's face. And some of them, a guy masturbates. And some of them, it's really, really odd. And it's just... unsettling. It's just very, very unsettling. That is one that I can't really describe to you. You just need to let it happen to you yourself. Normal Porn for Normal People. That one will stick with you.
Yeah, I think that it definitely doesn't hit like my top list, obviously, but that's one that I stumbled upon on accident and wasn't sure if I wanted to stick around for it, but I'm really glad that I did.
Yeah, same here.
I love all of them so much that if somebody were to give me some, like every single one that you've said, I have written down. If I've read it before, I'm going to reread it. And if I haven't, I'm going to jump into it tonight. So
I appreciate that. And I've written down all of the ones that you've said. I'm like, yeah, I have not heard of this one. I'm going to be checking that one out. Tulpa, I know I've heard it, but I don't remember it. So I need to re-listen to that tonight. So yeah, I've got a lot of horror ahead of me here.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's what I'm here for.
And I was waiting for that cross connect too. I'm like, I can almost guarantee you we're going to have something match on our lists. But I had Candle Cove as number 5 just because that was the order that I put them down in. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to move that one to 3. We can just have a Candle Cove love fest here.
Yeah, and I think Candle Cove is just so great because
it is.
That just fucking my voice cracked. It's puberty all over again at 27 years old. But like Candle Cove is one of those great ones because if you're really into horror, that you can appreciate it and love it, and then it's so accessible for somebody to get into because it's just so real that it should be on anybody's top list, if not top 5, at least top 10.
I completely agree. All right, guys, that's going to take us out of our very first episode of 2017, and we've got so much more in store for you guys. We've got so many more guests lined up. This year is going to be crazy. If you love what we started you guys out with in 16, just stick around, man. You're going to love this. But, Anthony, where can our listeners find you, man? How can they contact you? How can they find your content?
So you can get to me on Twitter. My handle's what_scares_you. I'm really active on there. You can just shoot me an email if you've got a story that you want me to read. I've got a long list of stories, but you can climb up on that list pretty quick at Irrational Fears Podcast at gmail.com. And you can, if you listen to podcasts on it, you can find me there. Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes, just not Spotify. Apparently you have to host somewhere else, but pretty much if you can listen to a podcast, you can find me there.
Right on, man. If you want to contact me, you can find me at Artful Gremlins on Twitter and Instagram. You can email us at artfulgremlin, without the S, at gmail.com. And if you guys like what we do here, if you like me, if you like Brooke, if you like the comedy that we try to bring, the free funny every week, and you feel like, yeah, these motherfuckers are worth $1 a month, something like that, feel free to stop by patreon.com/artfulgremlins for a whole bunch of bonus content, early access to a lot of our shows when we have the time to get them out in early access. Plenty of perks as far as different tiers there, man. If you feel like we're worth $1, $2, stop by there. We would be eternally grateful for that. But that's going to take us out of this, man. So until next time, I've been Robbie.
I've been Anthony.
Let's close the book on this week.
Let's do it.